We do have some breaking news. We're learning the suspect in the fatal Colorado University dorm shooting was a roommate of one of the victims. That information just came into the newsroom within the last few minutes. Now, as reporter Brianna Fernandez is following this story right now. Brianna, the suspect in this shooting was just arrested within the last 24 hours.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And the arrest came hours before the campus community gathered for a day of healing and to remember Knopp and Montgomery as well. So the alleged suspect, 25-year-old Nicholas Jordan, he was a student at the university UCCS. And police say he knew the two people killed in a dorm room on Friday. And with the latest information that we got, that is Knopp's roommate as well. So a judge signed an arrest warrant for Jordan Friday night, but it took 3 days for officers to find him. So they say he was in a car on Cliff Point Circle East in Colorado Springs. Jordan's employer says he was at a job site prepared to direct traffic at a construction site in a neighborhood when police arrested him. So students on campus are relieved to hear that police made an arrest, but say it's just hard being on campus knowing a tragedy happened there.
Since Friday, the weight that has been on this campus is unexplainable, and I don't think it's lifted yet. Events like this will help a little bit to lift that, but it's going to take a lot of time for this organization to heal and get back to where we were. It's not a normal day at UCCS today.
Yeah, so today the university is planning to host 2 community forums. So the first one's going to happen at 1 this afternoon. That's going to be for just students. The second one is for faculty and staff. That will begin at 2. And the school said that it will provide information and answer questions regarding the double murder during those 2 forums. Jordan, Corey?
Yeah, I can't imagine what those students are going through right now. Brianna, thanks for the update. Along with the university services, you can also reach out to Colorado Crisis Services. You can call the number on your screen. It's 844-493-8255, or you can text TALK to 38255. We also have this information on our website, 9news.com. Just search mental health resources.
It is now 6:03, and tomorrow 2 people accused of killing children are expected to appear in court for the first time in Pueblo. Nearly a month ago, Pueblo police found the remains of Yesenia Dominguez at King Storage there in Pueblo. A few days later, they found the body of her brother Jesus in a suitcase in a car. Jesus Dominguez is the biological father of the 2 children. Police arrested him and Corena Rose Minjares at murder charges. Julie Brecky was the owner of King Storage. She says that she rented the unit where the child was found to be Minjares last year. She checked it after 3 months of non-payments, and that's when the container filled with concrete was discovered.
I thought maybe it was, them being stupid, putting concrete. But then when she told me about little Jesus and Bubbles being missing for so long, then I'm like, I just couldn't believe that somebody would do that.
Dominguez and Minjares both face charges of first-degree murder, and both are in the Pueblo County Jail on a $2 million cash-only bond.
Right now, police are looking for the man they say left a woman's decomposing body in a hearse in the backyard of his rental home in southwest Denver. They say Miles Harford is wanted on charges of abuse of a corpse, theft, and forgery. It's just the latest in a string of cases that has more people calling for oversight of Colorado's funeral homes. Colorado used to make funeral professionals get a license, pass tests, take classes, until 1983 when the state decided to deregulate the industry. The man who led funeral directors in asking for more funding to keep regulations in place says he warned the legislature about the risk of deregulation years ago.
If you do this, you're going to end up as a dumping ground for states that have taken licenses away from funeral homes and funeral directors.
Colorado is now looking at new regulations for funeral professionals, but Blackburn warns even with new regulations, it'll take a while to weed out the bad apples who've come here from other states.
New information this morning. A father and son from Highlands Ranch will not go to jail for their role in the January 6th insurrection at the U.S. Capitol. Court records show that David Tyner and his son Christian went to President Trump's rally on January 6, 2021. David told investigators they followed a crowd to the Capitol, and he claimed that they didn't actually go inside, but investigators said surveillance video showed them in the Capitol for 16 minutes, and that David confronted a law enforcement officer while there. A judge sentenced the Tyners to 3 years probation after they pleaded guilty to disorderly conduct.
New overnight, Israel is ordering new evacuations in northern Gaza. It's part of Gaza that's already been torn apart by Israel's strikes. New data this morning from the United Nations shows 1 in 6 children are malnourished there. People have been fleeing to the southern part of Gaza near the border with Egypt, but Israel says it's planning to expand its strikes to that area too. Meanwhile, some Israelis are leading protests against their own prime minister. They're calling on Benjamin Netanyahu to resign because of how he has handled this war. This is in Tel Aviv. Israelis have been putting pressure on their government to negotiate a deal to get hostages freed, but both Israel and Hamas aren't budging. The U.S. is proposing a deal to release the hostages and begin temporary ceasefire in Gaza as soon as possible.
Yeah, the United Nations Security Council is set to vote today on a different plan for an immediate humanitarian ceasefire. The U.S. says it plans to veto it. The U.S. has previously blocked at least 2 Security Council resolutions, and it's unclear when or if the Security Council will vote on the U.S. draft.
In Washington, the plan to send aid to Israel, Ukraine, and Taiwan is still stalled. The House is on recess until the end of the month. President Biden is calling the lawmakers' break, quote, outrageous, saying the U.S. cannot turn its back on Ukraine in the war against Russia. Even when the House gets back, the bill has an uncertain future. Republicans have suggested they won't support it.
It is now 6:07 and less than a week to go until the Republican primary election in South Carolina. Nikki Haley is already looking ahead to Super Tuesday. Trump has maintained a substantial lead over Haley for the entire campaign. The South Carolina primary is on Saturday. Then 16 states, including Colorado, will vote on Super Tuesday, March 5th. The state already sent out ballots for our election, so make sure to check your mailbox if you plan to send it in.
And one thing you want to know about the weather today, we have a stream of moisture over the state, giving some clouds out to the eastern plains, but snow for the higher elevations. As the day goes on, the clouds continue to increase, but we stay mild. Look at the highs along the Front Range in the 50s and 60s from Aurora all the way to Greeley.